to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guest today is Irene Norton, financial and business planner with American Business Company. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Okay. You have a history as being a financial consultant and a business planner, but your focus now, which I want to talk about, is something you call advanced life insurance planning. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Before we get to advanced, let's just take a little step backwards and talk about life insurance briefly. There are several kinds of life insurance. Can we briefly just name them so to get everybody set for what we're going to talk about? Yeah.
Well, I mean, basically there's term insurance,
which expires within a certain amount of time.
Hence the name term.
Yeah, and it does have advantages at certain periods of one's life.
It's inexpensive, and when people need death protection, it's a great value.
Yeah, or if it's something, with very young kids, you can't afford anything better. It's a good way to get yourself insured with a relatively, certainly a smaller cash outlay.
Exactly.
Okay, and the other one?
The other one is a traditional whole life, which has been around for many, many years and been the staple of the insurance industry, which basically combines the death protection with cash value accumulation.
Okay.
Okay.
And anything else?
And then there's universal life, which is basically like a term and invest the difference combined in one policy. So basically, you have like a term insurance component. It's unbundled, whereas the traditional whole life policy is totally bundled together, and it's a little more complicated for people to understand.
Yeah, well, this business of the advanced planning, in all full disclosure, I have to say on the show that I met with you. That's how I met you. And I had a life insurance problem that I think people don't know that they might have.
Correct.
Which is people consumers buy life insurance policy, they name a beneficiary, and they think that when they die, whenever that day may come, that policy is going to turn over at face value to the beneficiary. But there's a possibility that that might not happen.
Correct.
Okay. Which I found, and I consider myself to be fairly astute, I found pretty surprising. And that's a reflection of what? Declining interest rates, Irene?
Well, take
a step back and just
It's a factor. Many factors come into play. I mean, number one, as you well know, we've been in a declining interest rate environment for, the last 20 years.
Right.
So what happens is, insurance companies basically make their money by investing in fixed income investments.
So
like
they
bonds.
take the premiums and invest it, and that's how they build up their pool so they can pay off on a debt.
Exactly. So when the actuaries design these policies and they predicate it on a much higher interest rate return, all of a sudden something that worked at 8% and now the interest rate's 4%, obviously that policy is not going to operate the same as it would have under an 8% assumption. So people have to pay more.
Yeah, so for starters, it's a good idea to find out exactly how long your policy is going to pay off, is it not?
It's a good idea to at least review your insurance portfolio every several years.
Right. And how do you review that? You get something from the insurance company that tells you when it's going to.
No.
So how do you do that, Irene?
Well,
besides, I guess call someone like you, right?
Call someone like me, yeah, exactly. But
right.
Either hopefully you're working with a professional that's servicing you, and
is that the insurance broker that sold the policy?
Yes.
Or could right.
Yes, so the insurance broker that sold you the policy.
So he has a response. Does the broker, after he sells you the policy, maintain a responsibility to you as to help you review these policies every couple of years?
I mean, the good ones do. And my personal, belief.
I'm sure you would. Yeah.
But things change. I mean, people move.
Yeah.
They move on. All of a sudden. Financial situations change.
Well, listen,
they don't have the same relationship.
The brokers could move, and the customers could move.
Exactly.
Or someone could die.
Right. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, and so for those people that are not serviced by an active professional, they either should try to seek out by referral someone that can review their portfolio from them in an unbiased professional fashion.
Can you call up the company and ask someone to do it?
You can call up the company that you purchased the policy
like if it's
from and ask them.
whatever.
Yes, you can.
You can. Well, that's one thing. But I think people forget they put it in a safe deposit box or something. Maybe they pay the premium every year, annual,
Correct.
or maybe they pay it up. And I mean, I know
just like everything
personal
else.
experience. I was shocked when I suddenly realized, hey, this doesn't go till death. And anyway, that's further compounded by folks living longer.
Oh, indeed, and that's another reason that today's policies are far more competitively priced than the policies of yesteryear, because the mortality tables have been changed, so the cost that's being charged for the protection has decreased.
Because people, they pay out less.
Right, but you're living longer.
You're living longer,
so the numbers
right.
favor the insurance company.
Okay, so that's that. Now, I want to go into this thing, because is that called is what you described, this, what universal whole, is that part of the advanced, what you call advanced insurance planning?
Well, there's many advanced uses of life insurance. I think, one of the things that, I mentioned to you in one of our conversations.
Well, this is a new conversation.
Okay.
So one of the things about, well, let's just define it first. The difference in the universal whole life is that it doesn't ever lapse.
You're talking about two different contracts.
Okay.
Whole life is the old traditional product that major insurance companies have had, forever, where it's a bundled product of
and
having
that's the
cash
one that
value.
Right, exactly.
And that's the one that
most people have.
No. Very few people really have that.
Really?
More people have the universal life policy, because that became in vogue in the 80s when interest rates were far higher. I mean, you probably remember prime being at 21%, and so interest rates were very, very high in the 80s, and that was the big growth time frame of universal life policies.
Right.
And now that the tide has turned and interest rates are so low, traditional whole life now has had a tremendous resurgence in the marketplace.
Oh, I see. So, but this universal whole life that you're talking about, that's not, I'm mixing up terms, aren't I? The universal life, is
yes.
that, yeah. How does that differ from the whole life?
It differs in the fact that universal life, just several things. They charge you a specific term insurance charge, and then they invest the differential in an account, and they tell you exactly what the interest rate is, and they follow more short-term rates. They don't follow longer-term rates.
Right.
Whereas in a whole life policy, they don't disclose to you exactly what all the charges are, so that's where the client gets a little bit confused, but you're invested now in the entire general portfolio of the insurance company.
I think that this business of expenses is very confusing, and also I don't think it's anything that people think about that much.
No, they don't. But all what you're saying, Judith, sort of feeds into the fact that people really should be reviewing their insurance portfolio, just like they review their investment portfolio.
Exactly. Okay. So now that we've established that, I went on your website, and there was a good deal of information about, which I had never even thought of doing, of life insurance as an asset class.
Yes.
That's rather new on the horizon, is it not?
It's the buzzword in our business.
Yes. Then I went on and read something else and whatever, and I thought, okay, what is this? What does this mean as an asset class? I always thought of life insurance as a necessary expense to cover the primary earner's income, when he dies, to leave enough money for the family or whoever is whoever is left behind.
Right. Well, we're going back now to the product that's being used in this case is the traditional whole life contract, and a special kind of designed whole life contract where the focus is really on cash accumulation, so that
is that the one for the asset class?
That's the one for the asset class, where basically you design a contract where you have the least amount of death benefit, and you deposit the maximum amount that you can deposit in the contract that the government will allow you to deposit, and still maintain all the inherent tax advantages that a traditional whole life contract has to afford.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So it's almost like a savings account.
Exactly.
Okay, fine, I get that. All right, so is it like a savings account, and you deposit it in with the insurance company, and you get the interest rate, which is in today's, what's the rate with insurance? About 4%?
Right now it's 4%.
Yeah, that's the bottom, right?
Yep, that's guaranteed.
Well, certainly there's nothing else that you can get that has no such low volatility
Exactly.
Other than insurance.
Well, it's exactly, and that's why the discussions you read in Wall Street Journal. I mean, many magazines, financial planning magazines, they'll state the life insurance has no volatility. That's one. It's paying an interest rate that's higher than what most people can get in conventional fixed income choices. And three, okay, you're not paying any taxes on the growth.
Okay, so life insurance, when it pays off, is free of income tax.
Correct.
Okay, but if you are using this as an asset class and you want to take money out, is that money still free of income? Oh, that money is still tax-free too?
Correct.
Oh, wow. So if you want to take money out for college education?
Exactly. Yeah. So
but there's a formula, right?
Well, there's no specific. Basically,
is there still a death benefit to the life insurance policy when you're considering it as an asset class?
Oh, yes, it's still life insurance.
It's still life insurance.
It's still life insurance.
At the end of the day, it's still life insurance.
It's still life insurance. I mean, what they're doing is, taxation 101 of life insurance is that the cash accumulates on a tax-deferred basis. You can pull your money out income tax-free because you put money in with after-tax dollars, and any excess money you take out as a loan. So in essence, what happens is the money that you withdraw is income tax-free.
But it's a loan.
But it's a loan, okay? But the insurance company accredits you, okay, the exact same increase in cash position as if you hadn't borrowed the money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you borrowed and I didn't borrow, our increase in our cash value would be exactly the same.
But would our death benefit be the same?
They would subtract out the loan from the death benefit.
They would subtract the loan from the death benefit.
Exactly.
Okay. But still, it's a pretty nifty idea.
It's a very nifty idea.
This is rather new on the horizon. How long?
It's not that it's new. It's just that, in the 90s when the stock market was roaring, who wants to get a paltry 5% return? And all of a sudden now, 5% without tax.
It's extremely attractive. It's extremely attractive. So that's what you call advanced life insurance design.
Part of being advanced,
and the rest of it is we don't have
the estate planning. The estate planning, portion where, basically people are predominantly purchasing life insurance to have the liquidity to pay, estate taxes.
Right. And that's become more important also with this increase in
exemption.
Exemption. I couldn't think of the right word. Okay. Well, that's, I guess the point that we should summarize in this whole thing, Irene, is that it's really not good enough in planning your estate or planning for your family's welfare to buy a policy for somebody, put it in the drawer, and forget about it. Because for sure things change in the industry, and new products do come out, and new benefits come out. So
exactly.
I suppose that you've made a good case for reviewing it with a professional consultant.
Oh, for sure.
But you're not with we have just a few seconds. You're not with an insurance company, but you still can do it.
We are independent brokers.
Oh, yeah.
And, I personally favor working with an independent broker because we're not biased towards any particular insurance.
You can go out and shop for the best product or the best deal.
Exactly. And, we have access to the vast majority of companies. A couple we don't, but the majority
Well, it's
we do.
an interesting topic. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate very much
that
you came on the show. I'm Judith West, and we've had an education in life insurance in ways that I don't think many people even think about how to use. So thank you for watching.